So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a horror movie that I've been wanting to give my thoughts on for quite some time on the channel, and I actually had a video planned to talk about this movie for quite some time, and the movie that I am referring to is M3GAN. And I honestly really like M3GAN. Like, I have a M3GAN poster on my wall. I'll definitely share with you guys in a future like room tour whenever I decide to make a video like that. But yeah, like I said, I really like the M3GAN franchise. And I think one of the main reasons, or I should say the main reason why I got so drawn to the M3GAN franchise is because it gave me vibes to Child's Play, the Chucky series, and I happen to be a really big fan of Chucky. If you guys want to know how I got into Chucky and how I became so obsessed with Chucky, make sure to check out the video that I posted on my channel talking about how I got into Chucky and my whole relationship with the series. There's a whole video talking about that. I don't want to get super in depth with that because I want to give my time talking about M3GAN. But yeah, it gave me Chucky vibes because if you look at how the original Child's Play movie started out, you saw in the beginning of the movie that a guy named Charles Lee Ray transferred his soul inside of a good guy doll. And then you see later on in that movie that a little boy named Andy gets a good guy doll as a gift. And then you see throughout the movie that maybe things aren't really what you expect it to be, because you would originally think, okay, that's a good guy doll. It's just a toy that Andy can carry around with him, he can play with. There's nothing crazy about that. But then you find out later on that, yeah, the soul of a serial killer is actually inside of that doll, and it's going around, it's pushing people out of windows. It's just causing a lot of shit that you guys seen with every single Chucky movie. Like, Chucky's just going out there and doing whatever Chucky wants to do, because that's just who Chucky is. He doesn't give a shit. And you just see him collecting more and more and more bodies like we've seen over the years of all these Chucky films. And Chucky is just a total savage. That's just how he is. He just does things the way that he wants to do. He makes his own rules, he follows them. So that's what I thought of when I originally looked at M3GAN. I'm like, okay, are we gonna go down that direction of Child's Play? And the way that the movie started out and the way that we saw it play throughout the entire film, it definitely headed down that direction. It was a little bit different because obviously M3GAN wasn't a serial killer, and M3GAN didn't have a spirit from a serial killer put inside of her body when she's being created by Gemma. But you see throughout the film why M3GAN ended up heading this direction, which I will go over right now, because you see that Gemma ended up with Katie because of what happened to her parents, because her parents got into a really bad car accident and they ended up passing away. And obviously Katie needed somebody to take care of her, so she ended up going with her aunt Gemma. And then Gemma really wanted to make this companion for Katie so she's not down and sad and beating herself up. So she decided to make M3GAN, and it is a AI programmed robot. It is very intelligent, and that robot is pretty much programmed to be like your best friend. Like, it's meant to be the perfect best friend, and that's exactly how Katie and M3GAN's relationship was throughout the entire film. They were very close. They were doing a whole bunch of things with each other. It was just a very wholesome relationship. But then you end up seeing a breaking point towards the middle of the movie where Gemma and Katie end up going to this certain place in the movie. I don't entirely remember on the top of my head because it's honestly been quite some time since I've seen the film. Like, honestly, I think I only saw like the movie once or twice. Like, once I watched it online. Okay, I'm red-handed. I have done that before, but I'm pretty sure some guys that are watching this video probably watch movies online too. And then of course I watched like a different version of it on Peacock where it was a little more graphic, had some blood. And of course, you heard M3GAN say a couple swear words, which was actually pretty funny because you don't normally really hear her speaking like that. So it was honestly really funny. But getting back to that, you saw her end up being with this boy who was just picking on her. And obviously M3GAN's programmed to protect Katie. So obviously M3GAN wasn't really fond of that. She ended up following this boy. She ended up chasing him in the middle of the woods. And she ended up like ripping off one of his ears, or just really messing up one of his ears. And then M3GAN just begins chasing him again, and then he ends up running in the middle of the road, and then a car comes by, and then he gets hit by a car, and then he just dies right there. And then that pretty much led M3GAN down to her breaking point because Gemma ended up talking to her, telling M3GAN to stop doing this and that. And then M3GAN went rogue, and she started making decisions on her own. And you pretty much saw how everything else played out throughout that entire film. I forgot to mention that Gemma was actually working for a toy company, and they were trying to figure out what kind of product they want to put out that really make a lot of money. That's why M3GAN became a thing. That's why I mentioned earlier, she's pretty much supposed to be your best friend. It's almost like a real life person, but it's like a robot, but you can do all these different things with M3GAN, and it was just something that really shot up, and a lot of people really wanted to get their hands on in that film because the doll was just so successful, and a lot of people were just really invested in M3GAN at the time. But yeah, that's pretty much like M3GAN as a whole. So those are my overall thoughts on the movie. The other part that I want to share in this video as well is where I could possibly see the M3GAN 2.0, which is a sequel that's already confirmed. Hallelujah, I'm so excited for that. And it's gonna be coming out next year in 2025, so it's only a 2-year difference between the original release and the sequel, so that's awesome. And this time I'll actually watch the movie in the theater so I can get a better experience with that, because you always get like a different experience when you're in the movie theater watching films like this, or just any film overall. It's just a different experience. It's just the whole atmosphere of a movie theater. It just feels so different. You guys get what I mean. You guys been to movie theaters plenty of times. But yeah, I want to discuss like my theories on what I could possibly see happening in the sequel of M3GAN. And one of the things that I could possibly think of is, since M3GAN ended up just screwing everything up and she ended up going rogue and doing whatever the hell she wanted, and like we saw towards the end of the movie, she ended up getting handled by Gemma and Katie, and then it seemed like M3GAN's conscience went inside that little AI system that Gemma has inside of her house. So starting off the little theory crafting right there, that's starting to make me think like, okay, since M3GAN's conscience is inside of the little AI system, like Gemma's little Alexa type thing inside of her house, which I believe that is, from what I can remember, could M3GAN possibly gather any sort of information that Gemma has on her computer or an iPad or whatever the case may be, of like all her files when it comes to the M3GAN doll, how she got programmed, and just all those extra details that were included in there to make M3GAN and program her? Could M3GAN possibly use that to her advantage to make another body or make multiple M3GANs? Because I can definitely see that becoming a thing, because we obviously know that M3GAN isn't friends with Katie and Jem anymore. She's pretty much going down her own direction, just like you see with Chucky in every movie. I mean, Chucky's always been out for himself. He's pretty much made that very clear within the first film. Oh, at M3GAN's face, it's pretty much a new beginning where she's doing things the way that she wants to do. So could M3GAN possibly use any sort of information that she can get from Gemma and make another body, like I said, or possibly program a whole bunch of M3GAN dolls, or hack into other systems that have the ability to have AI in it, or just any sort of smart device like an iPhone, iPad, or any of these gaming consoles, or whatever the case may be? Could M3GAN possibly just have multiple versions of herself, so it's not like, okay, if I get defeated here, I'm over and done with, like we saw in the most recent Chucky films, how Chucky is able to split his soul into multiple dolls and he's still able to be himself. Could we possibly see something like that with M3GAN? That would be very interesting if they decided to go down a direction like that, but you never know. They might have something completely different that they thought of in their head that's a lot different from mine, which is fine, because at the end of the day, we're having fun with this theory crafting. So obviously everything that I say in this video is not going to happen. We're just having fun with it. And the other thing I could possibly think of is, could there be a rival doll that M3GAN possibly comes in contact with in the next film? Because you would think, since M3GAN was supposed to be like a big thing for the toy company that Gemma was working for, and since it ended up failing because of what happened with M3GAN, could we possibly see another doll introduced? Something that might possibly be more successful than M3GAN, and then maybe M3GAN gets jealous and she doesn't really like that, because obviously M3GAN feels emotions. That's why she was reacting certain ways throughout the film, and that's why we just saw a different side of M3GAN, where she ended up taking out the neighbor, she ended up taking out the dog. She ended up just hurting a lot of people once she really got pissed off. Could we possibly see another doll introduced where they're trying to make money off of that? Maybe M3GAN doesn't like it, and then she ends up having like a little rivalry with that doll throughout the film. Or could she possibly try to recruit that doll to work alongside her and tell them the real truth about humans and what they're trying to do and how they're not good people? Because, you know, you've seen movies like that before, where like robots are trying to have this endless war against the humans because they think they're superior. Could we possibly see something like that? That's something to think about. I can definitely see them making another toy. Definitely, for sure. Like, I can't just see them not trying something else, because when you're a part of a company And if something fails, like let's say it starts off successful at first before it fails, but eventually if it's not as good and it fails, then you obviously want to try out a new idea so you can get it out there and see if people enjoy it as well. So could we possibly see something like that? Like that's something that I could probably say there could be a good possibility on that, but at the same time, I'm unsure. Again, we're theory crafting here, but I think at the very least there is a good possibility that we could potentially see a new toy introduced. I mean, I think it only makes sense because if you're a part of like Hasbro or something and you're making all these different kinds of toys, obviously you want to keep putting out a variety of things so it's not always the same thing all the time. And if you have something that fails, you obviously want to try again so you could find something successful. But like other than what I mentioned when it comes to M3GAN possibly gathering data, using it to her own advantage against Gemma and Katie and everybody else that she has issues with, could we possibly see another toy introduced? Those are the only things that I could really come to a conclusion with what they possibly could do, or they could possibly just mix both of them. M3GAN using things to her advantage, possibly even M3GAN making her own toy and putting it out there because she is intelligent and she's capable of doing a lot of things. So we could definitely see something like that. You never know. We're just honestly gonna have to wait and see if we find out any more news when it comes to M3GAN 2.0. And if there is any news out there when it comes to M3GAN 2.0, I'll be sure to make a follow-up video. So that's honestly all I have to really say for the video. So I'm gonna ask you guys, how do you guys feel about M3GAN? Like, how do you guys feel about the film? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you guys have any theories of your own of what possible direction we can go down with the sequel to M3GAN? Make sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, if you guys enjoyed the video that I provided you today, make sure to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And also make sure to click on that bell so you guys are notified whenever I upload a video, because I realize YouTube system could be a little funny and it doesn't always let you know when I upload a video. So make sure to click on that bell so you are notified right away. And also make sure to check out my social media. My Twitter and my Instagram are located in the description below, just in case you guys want to follow me on there. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you guys may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out and have a fantastic day.